Good morning. Very social group here. Good morning and welcome to First Church Unitarian here in Littleton, Massachusetts. My name is Deborah Niles and my pronouns are she, her. I've been attending FCU off and on for about 14 years and I currently serve on the standing committee. Today is Reverend Laura Hoke's day out of the pulpit. She will be back next Sunday. Before I say anything more, there is a light blue Subaru Outback that is parked apparently partially on the grass to the side of the fire station across the street. I'm sorry? Next to Fay Park, thank you. That probably should be moved. Today we have a wonderful guest preacher, Reverend Julianne Silberman-Bunn. Reverend Julianne is a lifelong Unitarian Universalist. She was jointly ordained by two congregations in New Jersey in 1992 and since then has served 6 congregations in 5 states as a parish minister, religious educator, and minister for pastoral care. Julianne has also worked as a hospital and hospice chaplain. She and her husband Ken live in their forever home, a cabin in the woods in western Massachusetts, with their rescued Maine Coon cat, Miss Honey. Doesn't that sound lovely? Ken and Julianne have 2 adult children who call Philadelphia home, as well as 2 chosen children and 2 chosen grandchildren in Raleigh. Thank you, Reverend Julianne, for being with us this morning. And for those of you with us in the sanctuary or with us online today, we're so glad that you're here too, whether it's your first time or whether you've been attending for decades. We cherish your presence here. If it is your first time here, please fill out one of the light purple or light pink pew cards and put it in the collection basket when it comes around. A reminder that if you need to talk to someone about something difficult in your life, you may reach out to Reverend Laura or to one of our lay pastoral ministers. Today's lay minister is Jan Duston. The other lay ministers are Ann Donald, Linda Kaler, and Patty Sardella. An important announcement today. All hands on deck for FCU's Community Fun Fair is this Saturday. The 2 best things you can do this week: 1, spread the word. Invite your friends and share the invite on social media. 2, participate in this joyful event. Check with Susan or Karen, and they will raise their hands. There we go. See you Saturday and Friday for setup. Okay. You will find information about other important events in the Community Matters section of the Order of Service. Another particular note today is a meeting following this service downstairs in the dining room to discuss the potential upgrades to our chancel and pews. We would like as much input from congregants as possible, so I hope you can make it. Directly after the service is fellowship hour in the vestry. Please be aware of others as we move through some tight spaces to get there. Please silence your phones and watches and enjoy the service.
The Day the World Turned Upside Down by Margaret Savage. The day when the world turned upside down, when a frown became a smile and a smile became a frown, when the mice chased the dogs and the cats chased the dogs, and the dogs laughed out loud at the pink and yellow frogs. When you went to bed in the daytime and got up at night, when birds caught the school bus and the cows took flight, when the moon came out in the middle of the day and all of the ocean's fish rolled around in the bay. When the children ruled the world and ice cream was for free and the elephants shrank to the size of a flea. When the grass rained lollipops up to the sky, when you wanted to laugh but only could cry. When magic beans were real and giants very small. You would eat spiders' legs so you could creep up the wall. This all happened when the world turned upside down after I went to bed with a smile, not a frown. Good morning. This is the time when we light our chalice, and I believe it's Natalie. Yep, okay, Natalie's gonna light it for us. The flaming chalice is the cup of our community, and it is the flame of our hopes, and it connects us to Unitarians, Universalists, and Unitarian Universalists the world over. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And now we will sing hymn number 9, No Longer Forward or Behind. And you are invited to rise as you feel confident. This is the time for our time for all ages.
There we go. Okay. Good morning. This morning's story is The Whatifs, and you all get them. And it's written by Emily Kilgore and illustrated by Zoe Persico. Cora was a nervous girl, always jumpy, always on edge, always wondering if something grim was going to happen. And because of this, the Whatifs loved her. Heavy, lumpy, and grumpy, the Whatifs are everywhere, in bright rooms and dark corners, in busy hallways and hushed libraries, in big cities and small towns. They slink in from unknown places and swiftly attach themselves to people when they least expect it. Then they whisper a question so quietly, so softly, so gently, that the person usually doesn't know the Whatifs are there at all. From the moment the sun first peeked through her window in the morning to the time she pulled the warm quilt up over her head at night, Cora's Whatifs followed her everywhere. What if my dog runs away? What if I forget my homework? What if the sun stops shining? What if my crayon breaks? Many people think about their what-ifs for a moment or two, but can briskly brush them off. Cora, though, could not. It didn't matter if the what-ifs questions were silly or frightening, likely or impossible. As soon as Cora thought about them, the what-ifs grabbed hold of her. One week, Cora had more what-ifs than usual. Her piano recital was just days away. Even though she had practiced and perfected her song, the what-ifs started creeping in. What if my fingers shake? Cora questioned on Monday. What if I make a mistake? Cora wondered on Tuesday. What if nobody comes? Cora thought on Wednesday. What if too many people come? Cora worried on Thursday. By the day of her recital, the weight of the what-ifs became unbearable. Cora stood backstage, anxiously waiting her turn to perform. The longer she waited, the more the what-ifs appeared, each one grabbing hold and weighing her down more than the last. What if I trip on stage? What if the bench is too small? What if the pedals are squeaky? What if I start coughing? What if I play the wrong note? What if nobody claps? Cora, a small voice whispered, are you all right? Oh, great, the Cora thought. What if Stella thinks I'm a crybaby? What if she doesn't understand? It's nothing, was all Cora could muster before a tiny sob escaped her thinly pressed lips. It doesn't sound like nothing, Stella said. Cora took a deep breath and said in a hushed voice, I just have too many what-ifs. They make me imagine bad things could happen, like what if I mess up, or what if I sneeze during my song? Everybody gets the what-ifs, Cora. Just a minute ago, I asked myself, what if Cora's sad and I can help? Listening to Stella, Cora started to wonder, what if she can help me? What if I can trust her? I wish mine were like that. My what-ifs are grim, Cora looked down. Do you ever have good what-ifs? Stella asked. I didn't know there were good ones, Cora whispered. Of course there are. Like, what if there's chocolate cake after the recital? Or what if I play better than ever? Cora chimed in, peering at the boy pounding his piece on the piano. Cora suddenly felt her what-ifs begin to change. The heavy, lumpy, and grumpy what-ifs slowly slunk away, while new ones arrived in their place. Just then, the teacher announced it was Cora's turn. Cora walked out to the piano without tripping. The bench was just the right height. Her hands quivered as they hovered over the keys, but then she sat down and began to play, and the grim what-ifs slowly continued to disappear. Until, clunk, she hit the wrong note. Oh no, what if everybody laughs at me? What if I get booed off stage? Cora wanted to cry. She tried to ignore the people staring, waiting for her next move. Then out of the corner of her eye, she saw Stella. What if I can do this, she asked herself. Cora took a deep breath and started to play again with confidence. Her fingers danced across the keys. When she finished, the room filled with applause. Cora took her bow and smiled at Stella. She couldn't help but wonder, what if I made a new friend? So when your what ifs come, and these days they're coming a lot, take a deep breath, try and find a good one.
Good morning. As most of you know, this congregation is self-supporting. So the time has come for us to, as is appropriate for our situation. Oh, okay, sorry about that. Time has come for us, as is appropriate to our situation, to share part of our wealth and treasure with this congregation. It's a statement about who we are. If you're in the sanctuary, you can put cash or checks into the baskets as they come around. Otherwise, you can go to the fculittle.org website and find the donate button. Finally, checks can be sent to the church to the attention of the assistant treasurer. Thank you. Please join me in the words of our community response. May we be transformed by our giving, and may the world be transformed by our gifts.
Most weeks, this congregation shares this time to share our deep connection with one another and to the sacred. In this spirit we light the candles of caring, candles of joy, concern, and sorrow. If you have an important joy, concern, or sorrow, you're invited to share that as you feel moved. Please let us know your name and let us know briefly how we might direct our thoughts and prayers and healing wishes to you. For those worshiping virtually, please raise your hands in the reaction areas of Zoom if you would like to speak. For those in the sanctuary now, if you're able to please come to the microphone. If there are many of you, please line up along the sides to facilitate the process. Are there any candles this morning? We will now light one additional candle for all the joys and concerns and sorrows that are left unsaid. I would now like to invite you to join me in a moment of reverent silence. Amen, and blessed be.
Invite you all to open your hymnals. We're going to share together this reading, number 496. I believe they're going to be up on the slides as well. It's a unison reading. From arrogance, pompousness, and from thinking ourselves more important than we are, may some saving sense of humor liberate us. For allowing ourselves to ridicule the faith of others, may we be forgiven. From making war and calling it peace, special privilege and calling it justice, indifference and calling it tolerance, pollution and calling it progress, may we be cured. For telling ourselves and others that evil is inevitable while good is impossible, may we stand corrected. God of our mixed up, tragic, aspiring, doubting, and insurgent lives, help us to be as good as in our hearts we have always wanted to be. Amen. Pages are sticking together. When I was trying to decide on what I wanted to preach about today, I was really struggling. Then I realized that things in our world these days seem pretty upside down. In fact, it really feels like life is pretty upside down for a lot of people in a lot of ways. Things seem upside down in a lot of small ways, but also in some pretty major ways in our country and in the world at large. Recently, the state of Florida eliminated vaccine mandates for schools, and the highest medical professional in the state stood in front of a press conference and explained that individuals should not have anyone else tell them what they need to put into their own bodies. The individual should get to make that decision. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the current Secretary of Health and Human Services, is openly skeptical of vaccines and has publicly spoken out against vaccines on a regular basis over many years. And yet he was confirmed by our national leaders into this position, which is supposed to oversee the health care of the nation. But instead, he fired the 17 highly educated, knowledgeable people who were overseeing the Vaccine Advisory Committee. I am the daughter of a polio survivor. My mother spent several years in an iron lung and only saw her brother through a window during that time. I'm the daughter of a woman who had one leg significantly shorter than the other and whose feet were a 5.5 double A and a 7.5 B, who literally had to buy 2 pairs of shoes to get 1 pair that actually fit. She made certain her children were vaccinated as soon as possible. I married a man who is one of 5 children. When his mother was pregnant with his next sibling, she had rubella, or German measles. That child was born with significant health issues as a result of the rubella. That child was born with severe vision issues and what at the time was considered mental retardation. My mother-in-law fought for years to get her child any education at all. That child also had cardiac issues. He had what is known as Epstein syndrome. Most of us only know it as the disorder that young athletes have that causes them to suddenly drop dead mid-game at a very young age. My brother-in-law, however, was not much for exertion, so he significantly exceeded the lifespan for a person with Epstein syndrome and made it into many medical journals. But he died at 47, following a brief series of issues that included a heart attack and going septic. Polio and rubella are today preventable illnesses. Measles and smallpox are preventable illnesses too, yet all of these diseases are seeing resurgences. One of the keys to keeping individuals safe and disease-free is the not so lovely sounding reality of herd immunity. If those who can be immunized aren't, those who can't be are more vulnerable to infection. All of this sounds like science and politics, but the reality is that it is about a social and moral contract we as human beings have with one another. It is about our values and our ethics, how we want to be in relationship with each other. My parents raised me to understand that our children are the bellwether of our society. when all of our children were not doing well, our society was not doing well. When children are literally dying from preventable illnesses, we as a society are failing. When children who should have their basic medical and human needs met are not, we are failing as a society. On October 7th, 3 years ago, when Hamas attacked a concert and communities literally formed with peace as their core value, kibbutzim, my world began to turn upside down. I have always self-identified as a cultural Jew, not a religious Jew. I had a young cousin living in Israel on October 7th. I believe that human life is sacred. The lives of Palestinian children and Israeli children, and the children of Darfur and Ukraine, and even our very own children here in the United States are sacred. Expressing this belief has led to my being told repeatedly over the last few years that I am anti-Semitic. The first time someone told me I was anti-Semitic, it felt as if I was watching the world turn upside down. Then I heard an interview with Max Brooks, son of Mel Brooks and Anne Bancroft. In the interview, Brooks was asked if he identified himself as being Jewish. Having parents from two different cultures, much like myself, and a mother who was not a Jew. Brooks responded by saying, and I quote, "I am Jewish enough for Auschwitz." It was the first time I really understood my own fears and why I felt so much as if the world had turned upside down. I too am Jewish enough for Auschwitz. And in my heart of heart, knowing that I cannot understand how anyone who knows that can in any way seek the death and approve of violence against innocence. Our world turns upside down in so many ways. This spring, as I prepared to go to work on a Friday morning, I received a call from my hospice employer telling me they had made some financial errors and were letting myself and approximately 20 other staff go, effective immediately. Less than a month later, due to financial cuts in education, my husband was one of 40 people in the Westfield Public Schools whose positions were eliminated. Our world turned upside down. This spring, a bear decided our house is its favorite restaurant and that we serve fruit, vegetables, and best of all, cat treats. My world has turned upside down. We moved to the woods to enjoy the peace, fresh air, and serenity. We have no screens left because the bear has come in or out of all of them. The bear broke through our kitchen window, so our kitchen windows are now boarded up. I will not live in a cave. I refuse to live in a prison. The door we have never locked is now locked or barricaded much of the time. I love nature and my little corner of heaven, even with a bear and her cubs in it. This is home, and it feels upside down. She tried to get in at 6 o'clock this morning. I am not alone. I know I am not alone. The world is upside down. This is the year 2025, and people are dying from diseases that are supposed to have been eradicated. We have leaders who put their campaigns over the lives of children. We fund weapons that take lives in the name of justice, only to create some of the greatest injustices. Our world is upside down. I don't know how we will right the world, but I do know that we are the only ones who can. Amen. Shalom and salam. And now I invite you to join with me in singing hymn number 112, Do You Hear? Each time we gather together, we build community. We teach one another what it is to have compassion, what it is to be in community. I ask that you keep in mind the tenderest lives and hold them as precious. May you go in peace and unrest to love and to serve as best you are able in this upside-down world, and hope that someday we may find a way to right it. Amen.